Alright, what we're going to be doing today is building a lower, the AR-15 lower. We got all the parts here. This is a pretty nice lower, anodized green. We got a Bravo company QD butt plate on it. This is the M4E1. It's enhanced, so this takes a set screw. The screw goes in there instead of a pin, and on the back here, that's threaded, so you don't got to worry about it, that spring jumping out. Very good receiver. So we got a Timney trigger for it. We're going to put in it, so stick by and we'll stick it together. So where I always like to start with on this is your mag release. So you take this, it's the biggest spring in the kit. There's a, you can see a little hole down in there, a little pocket this fits in. And then from the other side, you'll push this in, push it in, and you'll have to thread this on. So I can't hold the camera and do that, so let me do that and I'll get back with you. Alright, I got that just started. And what I'll have to do is I'll have to push the button in. Then I'll have to spin this over here to get that to screw in. When you're through, it'll look something like that. Should be just below. All right, on to the bolt catch. So with the bolt catch, you'll take this little short spring. You'll drop it down here in this hole. No, you can't see that. But this goes on it. And drop both of them in that hole. There we go. Now that's in there. You set your bolt catch in. I'm gonna turn this camera off. So I gotta push that down and slide that pin right there in. I'll be right back with you. Now on a traditional AR lower build, you would have to drive a roll pin in here. As you can see, that's threaded. So I'll take the 16th inch Allen wrench and I'll screw that in. Okay, now comes the fun part. We got to put the front takedown pin in. So we got to assemble the detent. So we'll put one of these screws and one of those little brass detents in there. And usually you wind up chasing the detent and the screw or the spring. Let me see if I can get this done. All right, we got it in. That was a booger bear. Best way I found to do this is to take a punch, stick through from the other side, get some needle nose, and press that pin down, then bring your punch in and hold it down. Then you can take your takedown pin and marry it and the punch together and push through. And if the stars align just right, it'll work. If it don't, you're chasing that little old brass pin right there. All right, let's try to get the back in. The back's a little different. You got to put the pin in first, because if you don't, everything will it'll come through this little hole right into here. So you put your back takedown pin in, then your detent, then your spring. Now this has a little tiny set screw because this is threaded. So if we decide to use that, we may not. We may just go ahead and put the buffer tube on and hold that in the old-fashioned way. All right, I'll get back with you. All right, when you Open your package up. This is your buffer tube, and this is your castle nut. So your buffer tube will thread in here. You've got this piece here in that spring, which will hold the pressure on your, it'll keep your buffer from coming out. But you got to put this castle nut on there. It's what jams it up against this back. So you'll have the thread the castle nut on there, and then you'll have to put your back plate on. Thread that in there. It's kind of a tricky mess trying to get this lined up, everything at the same time. So again, I can't do that one-handed, so I'll get back with you when I'm done. All right, we got the buffer tube threaded in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to drop this spring. Put that in there. And I'll have to hold this down while I rotate that buffer tube. This is their enhanced buffer tube. So it's got a little groove right in here that'll sit there and hold that down. So hang on, all right, that's in. So as you can see, it comes up in this notch. Now I gotta get the takedown pin detent and spring in. Try to get it all in here. So, wish me luck. This is not gonna be as hard as I thought it was. This castle nut threads plumb back off this buffer tube. So I'll be able to get everything in there. Hold this down while I thread the castle nut on. So, hang on. All right, that is done. It's not torqued down or nothing, but I'll tighten it up later. And when you get these tight and you get them torqued down, you're supposed to stake them. Take a punch or something and hit right there, and it'll push metal into this, and that'll keep that castle nut from ever backing off. All right, let's move on to the safety and the hand guard. And I think the trigger will probably be last. Okay, so you take your safety, the detent goes in this hole. I wanted to get an ambidextrous safety for this build, but I didn't, so I may later. It's pretty easy to upgrade your safety. So then we take this brass detent, drop it in the hole, and this spring goes in your hand guard, hand grip, and it goes on like so. And then you tighten this screw down, it comes up through the butt. So let me get all that done. I'll be right back with you. Okay, now we're going to move on to the trigger. Now, this is a Timney drop-in trigger, so it'll just basically sit in there. I think it's got a couple set screws that tighten down against the pins. We'll see. All right, Houston, we have a problem. As you can see, this sits in the receiver. There's pins that go through these holes. Then your set screws go through these little holes here and lock that pin down. I don't have any pins. The lower kit I got didn't come with a fire control group, so I've got pins at home. I mean, out in the shop. So I'm gonna have to get those pins, then we'll have to get this trigger installed a little bit later. So hang in there, we'll get this done. All right, that's pretty much it, minus the trigger pins. Turned out to be a pretty good looking build. I'm really impressed with Aero's quality. I'll probably be building some more of them in the future. I really like their stuff. When I get it done, I'll finish this video up showing the trigger and everything, so stick with us. All right, I'm home now, and I got a box full of AR build parts here, but I've got these Aero Precision. These are usually the pins you use when you have a drop-in trigger to keep they bolt together to keep the pins from walking away out. If you're going to build an AR lower, I suggest every time you order parts, get one of these kits. They're invaluable. The little pins and springs and everything that you'll drop and lose. We've got several of them. Every time I order a lower, I usually order another kit. They're pretty cheap. But the way this Timney works, it don't need these to be kept in, so I think I'll take the pins out of here and stick in the trigger. I'll get back with you when I'm done. All right, we're complete. Got the gun done. I got the pins in. The way this Timney works, there's 2 set screws down in there. It pulls up on everything and tensions the pin so they can't work loose. Pretty good design, but it's done. So stick around. I've got an upper coming the same color, and we're going to do a complete build. So stick around. We'll get the gun together, and then we'll take it out and test fire it and check it for accuracy and stuff. One thing I was going to say, when you're putting all this stuff together, make sure you lube it, especially these pins. I put mine together dry. I didn't have lube where I was assembling it at, but it needs lots of lube. It helps those pins slide in and out. It's kind of messy, but it's going to have to be done at some point. All right, thanks for watching.